I think this is the most significant area of our lives that we gotta pay attention to. I say significance in the sense that we are operating in this dimension, and in this dimension that we find ourselves in, the only thing that is making us survive this dimension is basically the body that we have, this body, this physical vessel. So without this physical vessel, we are not allowed, or we cannot exist in this dimension. So if the only thing that we need to survive in this dimension is what we are directly responsible for, then I think there's an area that most of us need to pay attention to, because if your visa is the only thing that is allowing you in a country, what happens to you when you lose your visa? If this body is the only reason why we are on the face of this earth, then what happens to us when we lose this body? This is why Health Wednesday is so important. Aquaba. I'm excited. Listen. Oh, you mean Nija Bebre, and I'm not for made the Obad, yes, Assassia, so I see it to me, or throw to me, assassin to me, so to me, Ejeria to me, to me, waiting and waiting, yet the BBRC. The wire in Mbois, near to me a shibu. I'm excited. I'm so excited to be able to come your way today, and nothing but to talk about health. Listen, this is one of my areas that I love the most, because attention have not really been paid to this area, and most of us, lack of knowledge, we've allowed a lot of things into our body that has no business being in our body. So I think it's very necessary. This is a very necessary area that we talk about. So welcome to Health Wednesday. My name is Kojo Bento. For us to have a healthy community, a healthy environment, a healthy society, we need to move away from this school of disease treatment and come into this community of disease prevention. If we want to see ourselves grow, if we want to see development, if we want to see progress in our communities, then we have to do whatever it takes to ensure that our medical system, our medical facilities are much more focused on preventing one from getting sick rather than teaching people to treat diseases. The difference is that when you are teaching somebody to prevent you from getting sick, what it means is that you would never get sick, because the person will do whatever it takes to ensure that you don't come into contact with the sickness. On the other hand, what most medical practices are doing is health treatment, disease treatment, as a matter of fact, disease treatment and not disease prevention. Disease treatment is basically for you to allow the disease come into your system and now chase for a remedy whilst you could have prevented it. You go what I'm saying? So I feel it's very necessary, because when you go to most labs and most research centers, all that they are doing is to cure something. And that's all they do, to cure something. Hardly would you find any investment going into medicine or what have you that says that we want to learn to prevent this from happening. This is a key area of our life. If we are to see progress in our communities, is that we bring ourselves to a place where we think prevention of diseases rather than treatment of diseases. The solutions to the health problem is found in natural remedies. The solution to health problems is found in natural remedies. It's not found. I know that many people want to believe that the solution is found in the pharmaceuticals, but it's not really found there. It's not found in the chemicals that we put in our bodies. That's not where the solution lies. The solution is in, as a matter of fact, in the natural remedies, nature. We are a product of nature. So of course, nature would know how best to touch us, to heal us, to restore us, to encourage the system, which is the body, to recover from whatever disease. Although the medicals and the chemicals we take in our body present or gift us with temporary reliefs, like you have a headache, temporary relief, you have this temporary relief, you have this temporary relief, temporary. So shortcut, basically that's what the chemicals is giving us. But when you really think about it, you realize that each chemical that enters your body and introduces itself to take something away from your body, at the same time leaves something behind. There's no chemical that will go into your body today to totally deal with something and not leave anything behind. Because your body is not a chemical body, your body is a biological body. So how then do you try to fix a biological body with a chemical product? It doesn't work. The two doesn't even coincide. So the best way is to rely on the natural remedies and the natural way, the way of nature, rather than allowing these chemicals which are poisoning you, and not just poisoning you, but also leaving something behind, creating a new problem that you didn't even have to begin with. The development or the growth of every nation is totally dependent on the health of its citizens, or on the health of its nation, on the health of its citizens, or on the health of its naturals. If a nation is sick, then the nation is not going anywhere. For a nation to have a vision and actually pursue that vision, that nation needs to have a younger generation that are strong and vibrant. If this generation that is following you is weak and sick and cannot even move to anywhere, or cannot even, I'm not even finding a word for it, but if the people that you are trusting the destiny of a nation with are all sick, then how long do we have? Then it's basically the entire human race going into extinct, right? Because the sick generation will not go any far. These are three main areas that diseases affect a nation. When a population is sick, when a nation is sick, these are three main areas. First and foremost, the development of the nation. So you see that a huge amount of time is spent in trying to secure or heal or recover the nation that is sick than any other developmental platforms. You realize that everybody is going into this specific area that is killing the generation, because when the generation dies, who is to pick up the mantle? So the first place that a sick generation would affect the nation is through development. So the first problem a nation has when its citizens are sick is its development. When you are sick, what can you do? When you are sick, where can you go? How are you going to be productive? So if the nation that is sick, so when a nation's citizens are sick, then you should know without a doubt there is not going to be a productivity, or there's not going to be productivity in that nation. We are trying to come up, right? We are trying to come up. How are we ever going to build a nation if all of us are sick? If we are sick, how are we going to develop? If we are sick, how are we going to progress? So one of the ways is that they do whatever it takes to ensure that you stay sick or you continue to be in sickness. My big mouth, I'm saying things that will draw attention to certain people, but that's the honest truth. When you keep breeding a generation that is not healthy, you should forget that generation or that nation has no future. The second place is economically. When you make your salary, or when you get your salary and you spend almost 2/3 of your salary on medicine, what have you left to progress, to increase, to grow, to own something. You will spend your entire life buying medications upon medication. So these two areas, when a nation secures its health, development starts growing rapidly. The economics of the nation start increasing because you don't spend millions of dollars trying to cure a disease or treat a disease, while you could have spent less amount of money preventing the disease in the first place. The third thing is the survival of that particular nation. How is the nation going to survive if the nation has no healthy seeds? So you see, these three key areas you don't want to play, because the development of every nation is based on these three key areas. That is why health is so important. So, if we say we are going to build our own nation and we are coming out and we are going to be our own people, don't forget, even in the scriptures, it was said to them, and these diseases will not come upon you. Because the minute a disease is opened up onto a nation, the entire nation shuts down. I mean, the entire world is on lockdown, right? Because of what? A disease. The 3 months that you've stayed home, what has happened to your life? What productivity have you added to your life? What value have you added to your life? So you see, diseases have the ability to shut down the whole system. When your people are sick, what can they do? We are living in a generation where the average death rate of every man, I'm using man here for both sexes, the average death rate of every man is constantly reducing. The question is, who is even asking questions? We are so used to the fact that we live in a time when somebody dies at 48, we feel, oh, at least he or she lived. Yes, you may say that she was young or he was young, but you're not really bothered because at least he's been on the face of the earth for 48 years. Is that where we are going into? Now, when somebody gets to 70, you say, oh, that's a life well lived. 70? Growing up, obituaries was constantly around 80, 86, 90, 78. That's when obituaries were around. Now check the obituaries that we have in town. 24, 15, 38, 32. It keeps reducing. But yet nobody is paying attention to why these things, these death rates are increasing. The age rates are decreasing. Nobody's really paying attention to that. If this generation, everybody, the average age rate is about 60, let's give and take 60. In the next 50 years, what will be the average death rate? The death age rate? It will be about 40, and that will be normal. We are not asking questions. Why are we dying so young? Why did our fathers grow up so old and yet we are dying so young? What is the difference? These are the basic questions that we gotta ask. They say life begins at 40, right? So if you die at 48, how long have you lived life? 8 years, not 48, 8 years. Because the first 40 years of your life, you were struggling, trying to find your feet. The middle 40 years is when you actually find your feet and begin to progress. And the latter 40 years is when you totally relax and enjoy the fruit of your labor. Add the 340 years. How many years do we have? 120. But yet a lot of people are not even crossing the first quarter. Not to talk about the second quarter. Our age rate per an average man is reducing. We have to start asking questions. We have to start wondering what is killing our people. One of the major reasons why it's actually reducing the age death rate or the death age rate is when man decided to move spirituality away from science and try to make it look like these were two complete things or these are two complete things. You need to understand that spirituality gave birth to science. Everything science knows came out of spirituality. So how does science go ahead to say that, listen, I am independent from spirituality. How can the tree cut itself from its root? It would surely die when the tree decides to move away from its root. Let it even keep the root intact. When the tree decides to move away from its source, there are certain plants, when you transplant them, they will die. There are certain plants, when you move them from their location and plant them somewhere else, they will die. They will easily die. So that is when the problem begins. When we try to separate spirituality from science. Science and spirituality in ancient times was just one thing. It was just one thing. How spiritual an elder is determines how potent that elder is in healing. And why do you think all the great inventors and what have you, when you check their biography, they all said one thing: believe in God, believe in the existence of God? Why did they all say that? Because after all their many years of studies and discovery, they came to understanding that, listen, I cannot do this science thing without adding the spiritual value. That is why if you depend your entire life on chemicals to heal you, you would die. Healing first start from the realms of the spirit, then later manifest in the physical. That is why sometimes you can feel sick, but you don't know exactly what is wrong with you, because the sickness has started in the realms of the spirit. Healing does not take in the physical phase first. Healing takes place in the spiritual realm. Healing then comes to the mind. From the spiritual, it gets deposited in the mind. So if the mind is sick, the body would remain sick. Until the mind comes to accept healing, the body will never be healed. So how do you separate science from spirituality? That is why science will fail. I know most people will say, no, what are you saying, brother? You don't know what you're saying. Science has brought a lot of progress. Science has made a lot of progress. What is progress? I'm thinking progress is when you move from one stage to the other and you get better from the previous stage, so you don't repeat the same mistakes that you did in the previous time. I believe that's what progress is, right? Okay. What is the progress of science? Don't get me wrong. They are doing stuff. But what is the progress rate of science? How can you call it progress if the leading cause of death is based on science and technology? It's a fact. The leading cause of death in our society is based on science. The highest is medicine. A lot of people die yearly by drugs. By drugs alone. More than anything, if you didn't know that. People are dying as a result of medicine more than anything. How many times have you heard somebody went to perform surgery, never came back? Somebody went to remove fibroids, complications came. Somebody went to do this, and somebody went to do that, and somebody went to do that, and somebody went to do that. How many times have you heard that? So it's this progress. If the leading cause of death in our society or generation today is still science, how is this a progress? Technology, with all these things that are killing people that you can't even talk about. How is this progress? Why it is failing is because they've detached themselves from spirituality, and until they come back and fuse, because one is a negative energy, the other is a positive energy. The two coming together create a beautiful energy source. If you're trying to power a car, if you don't use the two terminals, it's not going to work. One terminal cannot spark a car. One wire, one electrical wire cannot, listen, the entire building would catch fire. It takes two. Science, spirituality coming together. That is when we would have real answers. How can you call this progress if every bit of drug you take in is either one coming to get you addicted to that particular medicine so that you never stop buying and never stop. I can't say that word. You know where I was trying to go. How can you call it the progress? How can you call it the progress if the medicine you are taking never really heals? It never heals, but it only sustains the disease. How can you call this a progress if the medicine you are taking in is bringing you more problems than you had before? This is not progress. The basic healing principle upon which modern science is based on is twofold. One is poisoning, two is cutting. These two principles are what modern science or scientific healing is based on. It's either they are poisoning your system or they are cutting your system. What does this mean? While in training, every physician or a nurse is taught one important lesson, that every drug you take in is poison. What do you mean poison? What do you mean? They tell you every drug you take in has side effects. Everything that you take into your system that gives you a side effect simply means it is not meant for your system. Everything that is not meant to stay in your system is poison to your system. So indirectly they tell you every single drug you administer is poison. They tell you that. There are two types of poisons though. One is chemical poison, the other is radiation poison. So either you are taking the chemicals into your body or you are being exposed to radiation. And we all know the answer to that, right? We all know. It's not a secret. Next method is cutting. This is the next method of scientific healing. It's cutting. If there is something wrong with you, they take you to the surgical table, they cut it out. It's like having teenagers in a house and you tell the teenagers, whenever anybody has a problem in this house, they should just go lock themselves up in their room. If you feel you have, just cut yourself from the family, just go and lock yourself. How is cutting solving anything? Have you investigated what is causing the whatever situation that you are trying to cut away? Have you investigated? Have you asked questions like, what can be done to repair that which is damaging? What is causing? Because when you cut the first one, common sense should tell you that whatever that caused it to grow is going to cause it to grow again. So the problem is not just cutting. The problem is understanding the body, the organs, the principle, and knowing how this body would heal itself. That is the opposite. That is the contrast to natural remedies. Natural remedy is not telling you to cut anything, because in the natural remedy or the natural healing, the herbalist or the minister of herbs or whatever knows for a fact that the body is created to heal itself. No matter how sophisticated the situation is, the body is created to heal itself. It doesn't matter how long it takes. When you give the body time, it will heal itself. That is what the Creator created this body for. That is the reason why your cells keeps regrowing. Why do you think your cells are growing all the time? Your cells don't forget how they used to look like. So if something cut, if your finger cut or your nails comes out or cut or breaks or something, it heals itself because the cells in the nails remember how it used to be like, and it will strive and do whatever it takes to ensure and see that it gets back to its former glory, if not better. This is the natural way of healing. So compare the two, which is better? The one that is giving the body chance to recover and heal itself, or the one that is just saying cut. It's like going to the mechanic, and the mechanic that you took your model, the 2020 car to, does not understand the dashboard or the mechanical board of the car or the motherboard of the car. So this is what this mechanic is doing. Because the mechanic does not understand the engineering of the car, when you take your car to the mechanic shop, all that the mechanic is doing is Have you ever been in a mechanic shop where they'll just cut, and you wonder, why are you cutting these wires? Maybe it is not so in the diaspora, but listen, here, down here, it is so. You take your car to the mechanic shop and they will tell you, this is what they say. The wire, we don't even know why the inventor added this wire or added this wire. Let's just cut them off and connect them straight. But the person who designed it knew why he kept that little string of wire there. It's the same thing. The creator that created this body understands or knows why he put this here and this there and that there. So he knows that you were not supposed to cut. That is why the creator has released the natural remedies that is supposed to help the body regrow. So the food that you are taking in is a building material, it's a growth hormone, it's a growth material, it's a repairing material for the body. That every time you take in the right stuff, the body automatically thanks you to begin with and receive the material you've given it, and it goes to restore and repair the broken parts of that body, of that organ. Meanwhile, science that is so advanced and progress does not give the body the chance to fight. No matter where you hurt in your body, it goes away, right? It heals back. It heals back. Let me cite an example, and it's a bit gross, but I want to make it a little dramatic, right? The mothers that are in this community, do you remember how when you went to labor, you pushed your baby out? Look at my head, how big my head is. Imagine my head coming out of a lady's area. Do you know how wide it causes the area to be? But yet, when you give it time, it shrinks and repairs itself. Who do you think did that? So naturally, the creator has decided that every time any part of your body goes wayward, it is supposed to come back. It's not supposed to go wayward in the first place, but because of the poisonings we are taking into our system, it goes wayward. But even that, if you give it a fighting chance, it will grow back, it will fix itself. But modern medicine that is so advanced, we just cut, poison. Which one would you go for? These are the things that you gotta learn to do to allow your body come back to its natural state. Your body, to allow your body heal itself, repair itself. When you learn to give your body rest, it repairs itself. When you learn to give your body rest, you give it a fighting chance to repair itself. You can practice things like liquid fasting. All that you're going to do, you can set yourself like a week. All that you're going to do, just feed on liquid. And when I talk liquid, I'm not talking about poisons. I'm not talking about all these things they do, all these products. No, I'm talking about you naturally juicing things in your house. Taking liquids, taking prune juices and stuff like that. I don't want to mention any product, but taking liquids. When you take liquids, you can say, okay, for the next week, I'm not taking any solid food. I'm going on a liquid fast. You give the body a fighting chance to restore and repair itself. You can also go that I'm going on a general fast, and I'll make sure in my fast I'll eat only 2 to 4 hours in a day, and the rest of the day, or 2 to 6 hours in a day, and the rest of the day you fast. So it means what? In the 24 hours you fast 18 hours, you only eat within 6 hours. When you do that, you give your body the fighting chance to repair itself. You can also practice enemas, ENEMAS, enemas. I don't know how to explain it, but it's the injecting of liquids into your body and allowing those liquids to work and wash your entire system and bring them right back out. In Ghana, we have, the enema, right? So the enemas, you inject, you push something through your somewhere. I can say we are learning health, right? Through your anus, you blend certain herbs, right? You blend certain herbs and inject it in your anus, and then what happens is that these herbs goes into your system and washes everything up and suck out and bring out all the poison that are settled in your system. And listen, when you do this 3 days, I'm telling you, 3 days a month, just do this 3 days a month, your entire system will be clean all the time. You can also practice water application. Just drink water. Just decide, okay, for the next 7 days, all that I'm going to do is to drink water. Drink spring water. Just say, okay, the entire day I would only drink spring water. The entire 3 days I would only drink spring water. That would bring a lot of healing and restoration to your body. Sometimes just be in the park. You understand? Just be in the park. Go outside. Enjoy the freshness of the air. When your air is polluted, you stand at risk of getting sick. So always try to be around trees. Try to be around plants. And you see, when you try to be around trees, I'm telling you, your system, because there's healing in the air. There's healing. The plant, the air that the plant gives you all the time is healing. So sometimes just go out there, enjoy the fresh breeze. Enjoy it. And when you do so, as the plant is sucking in the carbon dioxide that you are producing, the plant blesses you back with oxygen, with breath, with freshness, with fresh spirit. And you see, because the plant naturally gets their strength and energy from the earth, the breath that the plants are giving you has healing components in it. So sometimes just step outside, step into the breeze, into nature, go into nature. Listen, when you go into nature every time, you always come back refreshed. It's natural healing in the air. There's a natural mystic falling in the air. Why does a song like that, right? You should also learn to be in the sun. Don't stay indoors all the time. Don't stay indoors, and learn to be in the sun. The sun rises with healing in its wings. The sun is not only healing human beings, it's healing the water, it's healing the plants, it's healing everything. So why don't you enjoy it? Stay in the sun. Get the healing from the sun. Get the energy, get the vibration. Spark your day with the sun. When you start your day in the sun, your day will never be dull. Try it. When you wake up, just try to expose yourself to the sun for at least 15 minutes. At least 15 minutes. And watch how your day goes. Because the sun charges you up every day. Try that. Free healing. It doesn't come with a cost. Avoid taking harmful substances into your body. Avoid it. Drugs, legal or illegal, taking certain substances that are bad for your health. Avoid these things. Taking coffee into your system. Coffee is one of the biggest stimulants. Listen, avoid anything acidic going into your system, and you give your system the fighting chance to recover from anything you are suffering from. Trust in spirituality. Start living a spiritual life. If you have lost your spirituality, this is the time to gather it. Gather your spirituality. Grow in spirituality, because everything starts in the spirit. So when you get in control, when you are able to be in control of your spirituality, trust me, before whatever it is come to you, you know it. That is why I can say that nobody's getting sick, nobody's doing that, because I've checked in the spirit and I'm seeing it, so I can say it that nobody's getting sick. Listen, these are free tips to your healthy life. This is just the beginning. My name is Kojo Bento. From next week, we'll go deeper. I'm just introducing Health Wednesdays. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to hit the subscription button. Don't forget to tell a friend about this family. I'm ready to give you everything I've stated, and also allow other elders to come through to teach us. Stay blessed. Have a great day. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.